Okay, through everything, Washington is going to set a precedence. A precedence is an example for other people to follow. So an example of that is I'm the first person in my family to go to college. And so hopefully I set a precedence for my two sons. Hopefully they go to college and have some success there. And so Washington is going to set several precedents, several examples of what the president should do and what that looks like. So it's kind of like almost unwritten rules at this point that other people are going to follow, because it's what makes him a really good leader. And so one example of something kind of silly that he did was, people were confused. What do we call you, Mr. President? I mean, you're a president, or your Highness, your Majesty, Lord. We don't know what to call him. And so finally Washington says, just call me Mr. President, because that's who I am. And so that's why we call our presidents Mr. President or Mr. Vice President. And that's how they're always referred to, is because of George Washington. But anyway, some other really big things that he does that sets an example for others is the use of domestic force. A little bit later, we are going to have a Whiskey Rebellion. A lot of people are going to get upset and start acting a little crazy, like they're going to rebel against our new government. And Washington rides in on his white horse and he says, nope, shut that down. We ain't doing it. Go home. He's going to use domestic force, like show his strength at home. He's going to show force to shut down his citizens who are acting a little bit crazy. The Constitution doesn't really say he can do this, doesn't really say he can't. So since he did it, everyone else is like, okay, the president can do that. If you're thinking about recent times when we have a lot of chaos where people are protesting, it's okay to protest because of your First Amendment. But when we start vandalizing or hurting someone or whatnot, when it gets bad and violent, that's supposed to be shut down, because we're not allowed to do that. So if your local authorities can't shut that down, and then state authorities can't shut that down, you can call it Mr. President, and he will send people in to shut that down for you. The executive cabinet is a group of advisors that work under the president. So he has like 4 or 5 of them. Someone who works or maintains the post office, war, defense, secretary of treasury, so that has to do with our money. Then we have the states who deal with the other countries. The 2 people that you need to remember the most is Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. Those 2 are going to butt heads, and we're going to talk a lot about them. So these people that support him are advisors. They're part of his cabinet. So just a group of people that work under him. He has a lot of hats. He can't do it all. So it's a lot easier if I have different people assigned to take care of things, and I tell them how to do that and what I want them to do in that position. Okay, and then another thing is 2-term limits. So George Washington served, we call one term is 4 years, and then he's going to serve again for another term, so 8 years in all. And so that's kind of like just the rule, like you can serve 2 terms and then you need to step away from office. That's going to be something we do throughout history. Some presidents, unfortunately, don't get reelected or don't run again, so they only serve 1 term. The only president that served like 12 years is Roosevelt. We just loved him, and he served a long time. But after him, we were like, I don't think we should be able to do that anymore. Not that he did anything bad. It was just like, there has to be a limit on this. So we then amend the Constitution, create an amendment that says the president can only serve for 2 terms. The next thing is the Proclamation of Neutrality. So here again, we're a baby nation, and we've got to be careful what we're doing. We don't have time to worry about other people, other countries and their problems. We've got way many problems here for us to take care of. So let's take care of us, leave everyone else to do their own thing, and let's not get beat up, okay? So if we're taking care of us, trying to be successful, grow, make money, and take care of business, we're going to be all right. And then eventually we can get into the chaos and the nonsense with other countries with all their drama. So this is how I kind of explained it today in class. I asked the kids who the smallest kid in 8th grade was and who the biggest, like, scariest kid was in 8th grade. So a lot of people said Sammy G was the smallest and Crazy Antonio was the biggest, the baddest, the scariest. And so I said, okay, an analogy for you. America is Sammy. Europe is Antonio. So if Sammy was to run up to Antonio and hit him in the face, Sammy would probably die. He'd be crushed, destroyed, because he just doesn't. He's just a little bitty guy, and he, just doing everything he can, but there's no way he can go up against Antonio or all of Europe. He just doesn't have it, what it takes yet. We're not there. Okay, and the Judiciary Act is 1789. So basically, this is him setting up and defining the court system. Like, yeah, we have the rules in the Constitution. But on this, we got to put the people together and really make sure we understand what this looks like and get it working, basically.